As far as strategy, especially over the last 2 years that I've been involved with, a number of strategies have been in place, especially around events. So I've been involved in making sure that we get a level of assurance on what Surf Life Saving are saying they're doing, and in practice, my job is to actually find the actual evidence of practice. So if a document says we're going to do this, during events, I want to see it. So I'm looking for that evidence to say, well, we said we were going to do this, and this is the outcome. So little things like implementing risk assessors on the beach, and reviewing, not only having someone stand there that says risk assessor, that's great, and it's a great token. But what we want to see is that person is actually competent in understanding what they're looking for, and also making sure that the information that's being collected is actually relevant and going somewhere. There's meaning to that information. So that's really important as well.
Is what Surf Life Saving Australia doing considered what one would call best practice?
Yes, definitely. When we say best practice, I would go further to say international best practice. They're subscribing to what's called ISO 31000, which is an international best practice standard for risk management. Many organisations in Australia adopt that risk-based approach. Many organisations are still not mature with their approach to risk management, and Surf Life Saving needs to receive credit for the adoption of the process and also the implementation, which is extremely hard. So Surf Life Saving's gone a long way. In 2 years, I've watched the organisation go from understanding, having intent of this is what we need to do, to getting through and developing processes that are real and can actually be put into practice.
So would helmets and life jackets have prevented those 3 deaths?
Yes, but we need to keep in mind that understanding that personal protective equipment is the last line of defence. And we have to understand that when we're introducing personal protective equipment, we need to understand the impact of that equipment with regards to residual risk, which is the risk left over, or potentially new risks that we create. So it's really important that when we do introduce new personal protective equipment, we understand specifically what risks we induce and have we mitigated them effectively. Surf Life Saving does an amazing job in mitigating the risks associated with an inherently risky sport. And when we compare it to other sports around the world, it in fact is not that risky. However, I think it's important to understand that Surf Life Saving's role is to reduce the likelihood of a catastrophic event, and that's why they do all the training. The Surf Life Savers receive training. They have a number of competencies they have to achieve before they have to actually compete and things like that. So I think there's a level of competency and also proficiency there that gives the ability to reduce the risks associated with the sports. Look, I don't believe Surf Life Saving has taken too long to test life jackets and helmets. Too many organisations take knee-jerk reactions to the implementation of personal protective equipment. Surf Life Saving has been diligent in investigating the effectiveness of the personal protective equipment, and that's taken time. So we have to understand personal protective equipment will reduce the likelihood of a catastrophic event. However, we have to understand that a catastrophic event still could happen. And this is really important, and I think a lot of people put a lot of focus on personal protective equipment thinking that it will actually reduce the consequence, and a lot of the time consequence doesn't get reduced. Consequence, if you die, you die. However, likelihood reduces the chances or the probability of something happening, and Surf Life Saving is very diligent in making sure that they're reducing the risk to as low as reasonably practical with the resources they actually have available. To make the sport 100% safe is never achievable in any sport. Surf Life Saving diligently looks at managing the risk to as low as reasonably practical and reducing the likelihood of catastrophic events. That is all that you could ask of any organisation. And comparable to any organisation around the world, Surf Life Saving is upholding that.